welcome back.
Yo.
Flicking Off episode 2.
Episode 2. We're doing it.
We're being consistent. We're going to come to you every week. We did 12 Monkeys last episode, and we told y'all we're going to link the films some way, shape, or form. We're going to pick something, and we have chosen what we're going to link it to. I think me and Jacob, basically for the first 2 episodes, he chose a movie he really loved, and I'm going to choose a movie I really love. But we did link these together because we thought Brad Pitt killed the performance. Definitely thought Kevin Spacey shouldn't have got that award over Brad Pitt for Best Supporting Actor. That was a load of shit. Grammys, get your shit together. We're going to link it with his performance to MoneyBall.
I think you meant Oscars, get your shit together, but
Oscars, my bad. That's right. Grammys is music. What an idiot. Like that would be great. All right. Yeah, but no, we're going to link it to that way. He killed it. And like we said in the last episode, that's just a performance and a role you're never going to see Brad Pitt ever do again. So that's what we chose. We're going to talk about Moneyball today.
Moneyball? I thought you told me Monsters Ball, man. Fuck, I watched the wrong movie. Shit.
Monsters Ball. Fucking, is that that's Halle Berry, ain't it? Or
Hell
is that?
yeah.
Yeah, that's Halle Berry, Billy Bob Thornton. That was a good movie. So because we're talking about Brad Pitt, I just wanted to go off a little bit, and because of editing purposes for the last episode, we're going to try and record a little bit more for this one. And for that sake, I just want to talk about 2 things. One, the Zencastr. We tried to choose a platform to record these podcasts. We did a lot of research, and based off research, we went through a bunch of reviews for the Zencastr website. They said it was super easy to use, and for anybody that was starting off a podcast, that would be the direction to go. I got to tell you, Zencastr was probably the worst website I've ever used for any particular anything. Like, it did not work. It did not load anything we recorded into its AI tools. I could not get anyone.
On us like 3 times.
So I was using a Internet Explorer. It crashed on us 3 times in the middle of recording. So the episode that y'all guys saw in episode 1, that was our 5th try. So Zencastr, get your shit together. I just wanted to say that. Horrible website. The product does not work. I shouldn't have to use it in a different web browser. I shouldn't have to do anything, because Riverside, as soon as we got on this, flawless. I mean, and just the editing capabilities, flawless, seamless, not too much effort. And yeah, so basically all I'm trying to say is fuck you, Zencastr. Like, you wasted my time. Not only that, I just went to the theater a couple of days ago to go see that new Brad Pitt movie, since we were on this Brad Pitt train. I love Brad Pitt. I'll never stop saying it. But this last movie I just went to, it missed the mark on so many things. The new F1 movie, it seemed like a movie that was filmed strictly for a Formula One racing fan. And the character development was the worst I'd ever seen in any film. It's probably going to go down for me as the worst sports film ever filmed, period. Did not have a great time. I enjoyed the drinks and the food more than I enjoyed that film. So yeah.
I'll check it out when it gets to streaming. I'll see if I feel the same. See if it's, I mean.
You will turn it off in the middle of the movie. I already know you will. Like, the only good thing about that movie was the cinematography and the way that they shot the racing scenes.
Yeah.
Like, that was cool. But again, that's why I go back to saying this film was made for a Formula One racing fan. This wasn't made for someone that enjoys film, enjoys character development, enjoys the plot, enjoys the story. And
have you seen Gran Turismo?
I have, and that was a great movie. I took my son to go see that movie.
Yeah, that was fun.
Turismo was, I mean, it's a video game, but they incorporated the video game and the real story that was wrapped around the video game, which, if you don't know, a lot of people watching this episode, Gran Turismo is a video game. They made a movie about it, but the cool thing about it and what I didn't know until watching that film, was the actual race car teams are selecting drivers based off of the results from that game. And they still do it to this day. And that movie was based on one of the first teams with Nissan. They took a chance on a kid who'd never been in a real race car, but the way he raced with the game, they were like, this dude's flawless. And when they created the game, it's the realest driving experience you can get. So, and a lot of teams in NASCAR are doing it. They got, I mean, I watched the Netflix series, NASCAR selecting drivers based off this game, based off driving simulators. So, and the story was great because not only was it a real story, the acting was good. It was filmed really well. I love that movie. Yeah,
I was hoping that's what F1 would be. I was hoping it'd be that good.
it's not. It's you'll see what I'm talking about, man.
Gotcha.
I'm not look, if you're a Formula 1 racing fan, you'll go to that movie and appreciate it. But if you're not, you're wasting your fucking time as far as I'm concerned. And the ending has got to be, I don't even know why Brad Pitt let this go down. Like if I'm Brad Pitt and I got a team, if I'm on Brad Pitt's team, I'm literally looking at Brad Pitt like, dude, this ending is the worst in your entire. I think he just did it because he's old now. He's probably almost 60, I think. And he wanted to get in those cars and film. I think he just wanted to have fun with a movie. This wasn't like a chip on the old, tenure of your career. Really let down. I should have went and saw Eddington, which I'm probably going to go see tonight. But let's get into it. We're going to talk about MoneyBall today, guys.
MoneyBall
is probably, and I told Jacob when we were talking about this, we're having meetings about this episode. I don't want to get too fan happy about this movie and ruin my credibility as someone that's rating movies now. Dude, this movie was probably for me, the best sports film ever made. The story is real. The story, so the story.
We'll get into that.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
It's based on a true story.
Right. It's good though. It's a good film. If you don't like sports, you're still going to love this film. That's how well this film is. That's how from start to finish this movie just has a flow that's hard to mimic. It's you're immediately entranced into everything from the beginning until the end. And the performances were spectacular. Brad Pitt does a really great job. Jonah Hill, super great job as a supporting actor. He plays Pete. And there's a lot of notable, names as far as like who went into the making of this film. Jacob, give them the plot, so to speak, unless you want me to do it for this episode or
I got you. I mean, The basic plot of Moneyball is you've got Brad Pitt is Billy Beane. He's managing the Oakland Athletics, and they're sucking, right? Their team is not doing well. And it comes up time for scouting new players. I'm not a sports fan. I don't know what they call it. It's not a draft like in football, but they're basically looking to recruit a new roster of players.
It's the off season. They lost all their good players. They get the beginning of the movie. They show the game where they're in the playoffs and they lose to the Yankees. And then during the free agency, the Yankees and all these other teams that have money take all of their good players. So they have to revamp the roster at the beginning.
Yeah. And so, Billy Beane, Brad Pitt goes into the scouting meeting, and these guys are just talking the same old shit. They always talk, oh, we could get this guy, we could get this guy. They know that the team has no money, right? They have zero funds. And right away, Brad Pitt is just like, we've got to try something different. We've got to try something different. And then when he goes to try to get a player from the Cleveland Indians, he notices that their manager is asking some dude off to the side, like, should we get rid of this guy? And the guy just is like, nah, keep him. And so Brad Pitt takes it upon himself to track this guy down in the office and is like, why is this guy listening to you? Why is he listening to you? And, long and the short of it is he's using statistics and math to figure out which players get on base the most, which players actually get runs. And after some discussions, he decides to hire this guy away from the Cleveland Indians. This guy is Peter Brand, that's the character's name, played by Jonah Hill. And they go on to build a roster off of his statistical way of looking at how to build a team. And that's the basic driving plot of the movie, is hey, we're going to revamp this team in a way that nobody's doing, because also they don't have the funds. They have zero money. So this allows them to be able to get people that other people don't see the value in, other teams don't see the value. They can get these people for cheap. And their goal is to build a winning team. So that's the basic plot of it.
Right.
But like Mark said, what really sets this film apart is the way it sort of draws you in. It sucks you into actually caring about this, even if you're not a baseball fan, and being like, are they going to do it? Are they going to build a winning team? Are they going to win the championship? And the performances, because Jonah Hill and Brad Pitt just kill it. Their chemistry is really good. And there's also a lot of people in the film, in the scouting scenes where they're in scouting meetings. They used real scouts from the MLB, and it
And the
adds this
scenes.
authentic layer of, like, it just feels real in some scenes. I mean, in a lot of scenes it does feel like a movie, but sometimes it sort of breaks that barrier and almost feels like it's a documentary, even though it's not a documentary, and it's not shot in that style. It's not done like that, but it just gives the audience the feel of, like, crap, is this what it was like? So, Mark's a sports fan. I don't think he's a big baseball fan, but I'm not a sports fan at all. And I was sold because of this scene in the scouting meeting in the trailer. It gives you this vibe of, like, Brad Pitt is against even his own organization. He has to convince everybody this is the way to go. And they keep telling him, dude, you're going to ruin your career. Like, you're going to throw everything in the trash heap for some statistical bullshit that doesn't matter, you know. That's the basics of it. I don't know if we should go into the ending yet, or how it all
No,
pans out.
let's talk about the authenticity of this film. But before we even get into that, let's talk about the score of this film, which is what really, really to me stands apart from other sports movies. Is the music that was done for this film. What was the composer's name again?
I think it's Michael Kenna, I believe. Got it right here.
Let's look that up because I don't want to
Michael
give the
Dana,
Michael Dana
or Dana. It might be Dana.
might be.
Michael Dana.
He killed the score of this film. They used this same dramatic, I don't want to say song, I want to say instrumental. It's almost like an instrumental, but
It's
it's
like a
very
melody. It's like a
right.
melody line. Yeah.
And like, dude, honestly, we could use that for this show. You could use this melody. It's so simple. It's like a guitar, but they kind of like mess with, it's like he's strumming one string of the guitar and it just sets the fucking tone. They use it throughout the entire film from the beginning in certain dramatic parts that when Billy Bean is like, taking these chances and he's like in his own thoughts. Was immaculate, man. And I remember seeing this movie in theaters when I was stationed in El Paso. And just that was what really blew it away for me was the music. It almost makes you feel a certain emotion listening to it, not
Yeah.
necessarily what's going on in the film. That's what really did it for me and why I really it's not the only reason I love this film, but it's a major reason why I love this film. And not too many films we go to the theaters and we see and we fall in love is because of that. So I thought that was just different. Now another part of this film and why let's hammer on what you just said with the scouts and the scenes. Those were actual real MLB scouts. These old guys with coffee stained teeth. They're spitting dipping cups. They're talking old baseball. And this whole plot of the film was Billy Bean is not thinking how traditional baseball minds think. He's going off of he's going in a totally different direction. He's trying to rewrite traditional baseball thinking, so to speak. And these guys, they didn't have to act. They just went in front of the camera and were themselves, and it fucking worked. And
Yeah.
that speaks to Bennett Miller in a huge way as a director, because I don't think too many directors would take that chance with not using real professional actors to portray these scouts. He used actual scouts to portray in this film, and it worked. It worked in a flawless way. You know, them going to sign the players. I mean, from, you know, I think his name was Chris Haddenberg, was portrayed by
Chris Pratt.
Chris Pratt. He played Scott Haddenberg, correction.
Yeah.
You know, Philip Seymour Hoffman plays Art Howe. He plays the manager of the club. And another thing that made this movie real great was they used actual in-game footage during the filming of this. They would incorporate what actually was going on the old video archive, and then they would film their own with, you know, when there's a scene in the film during the 20th game, they're going on a 20-game winning streak. It's the part of the film that lets the audience know Billy Beane's idea, you know, Peter Brand's idea is working. And they're on a 20-game winning streak, which the last team to do that was like the 1914 Yankees. And this film was based on the 2002 Athletics. So on the 20th win, they lose a 11-run lead. It's tied to go into overtime. And then they call up Scott Haddenberg, who hits a home run, wins the game. And during that scene, they had the actual game of Scott Haddenberg hitting the home run, taking the bases, and then they had the actual the what they filmed of Chris Pratt running around the bases. And they did that. They did that a lot, and it worked. It really did.
Yeah.
And you don't see too many sports movies doing that. So
yeah. No, that's why I say it's not a documentary at all, but it can pull the audience in. You know, like, wow, this feels real. You know, you're there with them. I mean, and yet, so like Mark was saying, I mean, the system starts to work. There's a lot of like frustration along the way, you know, because in the movie, you know, Billy Beane's character is sort of fighting with the manager, Art Howe, about who to put on the field. Art Howe wants to put his lineup on the field, and that's what he's doing. And so they get into the season and Billy's system is crashing. I mean, it is not working at all. And everybody's like, this guy's an idiot. And you know, in the film, he makes the bold decision to start trading away players that Howe likes, just so he's forced. So he has no other thing to do but play the players he wants them to play. And that's when the system starts working and they go on this streak. And not only do you get real footage, like Mark said, but you get a lot of the real like radio announcers and audio of the announcers, and also just like ESPN footage of people talking about, is this a fluke? Is this not a fluke? And then the more games they keep winning, oh, this system's great. And then when the streak breaks after 20, it's funny how near the end of the streak, all the announcers are like, oh, this was a brilliant move. This is the best thing ever. But then as soon as it doesn't work, they're all like, oh, it was a fluke. It was coincidence. Like, this doesn't mean anything. You know, the old way of doing things is the right way. But you know, it's interesting, and we'll get into it because there's a lot of differences in the real life story and the movie version of the story that sort of balance out how all that worked. But in the movie version of Moneyball, it really takes you on this journey of it's working. And it's cool because Brad Pitt and Jonah Hill are getting the validation that they actually achieve something here. And along the way, this is sort of a hard thing, I think, that I was trying to think about. How do we verbalize this to whoever may be listening to this podcast? There are scenes between Brad Pitt and Jonah Hill and these scouts and other owners where they're very, you know, like, it just really pulls you in because you're like, you want this to work as the audience member. You're like, I want it to work. I want their system to work. And, you know, there's a scene with Brad Pitt and Jonah Hill where they're calling, trying to make trades. It's like one of the last times of the season where they can make trades and get people in. And it's just, I don't know what to relate it to. It's like seeing salesmen doing their best job at selling, but also underselling everything at the same time. You know, they're trying to trade away this one guy and get another guy, and the other manager is like, what's wrong with that guy? And Brad's like, oh, nothing's wrong with him. Like, he's a great guy. Like,
He's
he's just
stinking up
not
the
working
locker
out over
room.
here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And, I didn't write down a lot of the dialogue, but there are just a lot of one-liners of like things that Brad Pitt says. Like, you even brought one up in our conversation, but he just has these lines that are like, this shit's not working. I don't know how to describe it. So I feel a little bit inept in how to describe
It's
what makes it so cool, but it's fun.
what you're trying to say is it's realistic, even if you don't know how these conversations go down, because we don't, unless we're actually running a baseball team. You don't know how these conversations go down. So when you see it on film, and I think, dude, shout out to Bennett Miller for this one, man, because he made it so believable. And the dialogue, whoever wrote the script, it was believable. And that line that you're talking about is when there's a scene in the movie where they hired this very injured veteran named Justice. I forget his David Justice, I think was the character's name. He's a real baseball player. He had a great tenure with the Indians and the Yankees. And they even said in the movie when he brings them up, he's like, David Justice. And all the scouts are like, no, dude, like his legs are gone. He's old. He's on the end of his career. And Billy Bean's like, I don't care. He gets on base. So they signed this guy, and a part of the contract was he was so unwanted in New York that the owner of the Yankees was willing to pay half of his contract to whoever wanted to sign him. So the A's signed him, and there's this one scene where Billy Bean's walking up to David Justice as he's taking practice swings in the cage, and he's like, did me and you got a problem, David? And he's like, nah, man. He's like, I just never seen a GM talk to players like that. And then Billy Bean comes back. He's like, you've never seen a GM that was a player. And that line does so much right there. Not only did Brad Pitt really Brad Pitt that line, but it goes into the whole plot of the film. Billy Bean, in that time in baseball, there wasn't but one or two players who were actual general managers of ball clubs, and Billy Bean was one of them. And dude, lines like that are what makes great movies. It's what makes great films, because this one little scene is hitting on so much. Like,
Yeah.
you've never seen a GM that was a player. And
Yeah.
that goes into the plot, that goes into the tension between the player and Billy Bean in those two roles. It goes into the way baseball was thinking during that. It just was, and there's so many of those. There's so many of those lines.
There's that reminds me of, like, there's a scene with the scouts when Billy Bean, Brad Pitt, first brings in Peter Brand, played by Jonah Hill. It's the first meeting where they've seen this guy, and the scouts are like, who is this guy, right? Like,
Right. Does he need to be here?
He's young. He's a young guy.
He's like, that's Pete.
They're trying to replace a player. I can't remember what his RBI or whatever it's called was. And Brad's like, look, here's how we're going to break it down. We just need 3 players that can get on base a third of the time that guy could, and it'll equal that guy. And they're like, no, that's not the way that it works. And he's like, yeah, here, I'll explain it to you. So he's explaining it, and he picks out a player, and he goes this, and he goes, because what, Peter? What does he do? And he points at Peter, and Peter goes, you want me to talk? He's like, yeah, when I point at you, you talk. He goes, he gets on base. And Brad Pitt's like, that's right, guys. He gets on base. All right. And he keeps doing his spiel. And he's like, guess what? Because why? He gets on base. And and by the third time, like, the scouts are like, he gets on base. Like, they get it. And it's sort of like, it's dumb. They don't agree with this logic, but they're like, all right, I guess we'll go down this, road that you're going to go down. But those are the kind of scenes with the kind of dialogue that really pull you in. And another great thing you mentioned there that the audience should know is that Billy Bean was a player. And we keep seeing flashbacks through this beginning part of Billy Bean's journey as a general manager, changing his approach to when he was young and when he was getting scouted to play professional baseball. And we learn that he gave up a full paid scholarship to go to Stanford to play Major League Ball. And his career never really panned out the way that everyone promised him it would pan out. the same way that these scouts promise all these other guys it's going to pan out. And one of the decisions that helps him solidify, like, I need to hire Jonah Hill, is when he calls him and he asks him, would you have drafted me in the first round? And he goes, no, you
Yeah,
would have
you were
been
really
ninth round with
well,
no signing bonus.
first he lied. He goes, "Yeah, you were a really good player," because I
Yeah.
guess he was thinking you wanted the job. He's like, "Cut the crap. Would you have drafted me in the first round?" And then there's like a pause. He's like, "I would have took you in the ninth round. No signing
Yeah,
bonus." Like fucking, he's like, "Right, right." He's like, "Pack
exactly.
your bags, Pete.
Yeah.
I just bought you from the Cleveland Indians." And he
Yeah.
hangs up. That's dude, and that's good directing. That the way that they film this, because like you didn't even see they weren't in the same room. It would flash to Peter in his room and then to Billy Bean in his nice little kitchen drinking scotch, or it was some alcohol. I don't know if it was exactly scotch. They didn't have it in there, but he's clearly inebriated, Brad Pitt, in this scene. And he's thinking about what you were saying, like him getting drafted by the Mets. They're thinking he's like this great player. They're hyping him up and he gets into the major leagues and it never pans out. And there's another scene where he's talking with the lead scout and they're arguing. He's like, "Look, I've been in those rooms. I've sat on those couches, and you tell those players, I know. And when I know, I know." And you don't. You
Yeah.
don't know. And it's just phenomenal, man. Like the way that they did this film is great. And let's get into another reason we love this film and what we found out during research is that this film historically, as far as the relationships between the players and Billy Bean and Art Howe, the manager of the club at the time, are not exactly 100% true. And we found out that they changed a lot of the reality of this film, or the story of it rather, for the film, for the sake of storytelling. And that's a bold decision, because I think whenever you're doing a movie that's on something that's already a great story, like this one, it would be hard as a director to go, let's change this and let's change that. I think it'll make a better movie.
Yeah, for
And
me personally, what I found, we'll get into the details of what's different, but for me personally, finding out a decent amount of stuff wasn't true or that wasn't the exact way that it went down, I won't say it knocked my enjoyment of the movie down. I still
it didn't.
really enjoy the movie, but it was
It
a
was a
little bit
bummer
of
to
a
read.
letdown because it
Yeah,
was like, oh man, I wish it went down the way it went down in this movie because it's so
right.
cool. But after learning some of the things that just weren't true, we mentioned Philip Seymour Hoffman's character, Art Howe, the guy in real life, Art Howe. From what I read, he had the most beef with how his character was personally portrayed, and other players that were on the team at the time were like, that's not what Art Howe was like. He just wasn't that guy. He didn't have this really contentious relationship with Billy Bean.
He wasn't begging for a better contract neither. I read that too, and he did that in the film. That wasn't the case.
Yeah, and we mentioned the scene between David Justice and Billy Bean. I saw an interview with David Justice where he was like, "Hey, I love the movie. It's a great movie, but none of the scenes with me in it is how it was." In that scene, they portray it as Billy's trying to convince David, hey, step up, be more of a mentor to these players and lead them, and they'll sort of follow your lead. And David was like, in the real life interview, said, hey, when I was hired on, that's how they hired me. That was one of the things they wanted me to do from the start, was be a mentor. And me and Billy Bean never had a contentious relationship. We talked all the time and we were friends. So it wasn't like that, but even he was able to admit it's still a good movie. Like,
Really
it's
great.
still a good movie. It's just
Shout out
not
Ben
how it
Miller.
went down.
Yeah,
The 20-game winning streak was totally real. That
it
was not
was.
made up. That was a real thing. A lot of the trades that were in the movie happened over the course of days and weeks. And in the movie, they'd make it seem like, oh, it
One
happened
team.
in a few days or in one day, and of course, if it had been over several weeks, it wouldn't have made the movie taste the way it is. So it's like, no, we got to make it seem like bam, 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 this stuff is happening. So I don't fault them for sort of compressing time like that.
It made for a better story. I mean, and
Yeah.
that's the challenge I think with this film and what Bennett saw was, I think it'd be better if we change this realm of reality just for the sake of the story. It could be great, and it was. I mean, another
Yeah.
thing was, and what was a really big bummer for me reading was in that scene that we just talked about where Billy Bean's like, would you have drafted me in the first round? He goes, pack your bag, Pete. You know, I just bought you from the Cleveland Indians. When I was doing research, you can't do that in real life. Like, it's actually illegal. You can't trade employees of the organization. You have to treat them just like they are. They're not athletes on the team. They're actual employees. So you can't trade them. He never bought them from the Cleveland Indians.
And the movie portrays Billy Bean and Peter Brand as the duo, you know, the dynamic duo that's creating this roster. And everything that I read said that their relationship really wasn't like that. You know, they weren't like this two against everyone else relationship, and they knew that what they were doing was right. You know, Billy did hire a guy, and this guy made suggestions to him, and he sort of followed his suggestions, but it wasn't anything like the sort of thing
No.
they portrayed in the movie. And also the character that Jonah Hill plays, Peter Brand, that's not that guy's real name. I've got to look at what it is in my notes here. But the guy that was actually based on is Paul Podesta. And he
Right.
actually requested that they change his name in the movie because he knew that it was going to be portrayed in a different light from what he actually did. But he did actually work with the director to help him get a lot of the facts of how they did it and what they did, you know, accurate, even though a lot of it's not accurate. So he wasn't opposed to the movie being made. He was involved with the making of the movie, but he was just like, hey, why don't you change my name so that people don't associate it directly with me?
But a lot of it was real. And this movie does portray how Major League Baseball continues to draft players. They continue to build ball clubs around this MoneyBall theory, which I
Yeah.
think this was an actual book that they
Yes.
wrote called MoneyBall. And it went into the real conversations and, you know, everyone being against them. But towards the end of the movie, Billy Bean, there's a scene where they actually, I don't even know if that guy, I think he just portrayed the owner of the Boston Red Sox. But the ending of this movie, he gets a call for a meeting.
Well, you got to tell them that they didn't, after the streak, they didn't win the championship.
They didn't win the
They
championship.
didn't win. So as an audience, you're like, damn.
You feel for the characters, right? Like,
Yeah,
and the
you
players
do.
for sure.
Because they got so close, but they just couldn't pull off.
And it was just like the beginning of the film. They were right there.
Yeah.
And they lose that game. They lose Damon. They lose Jason Giambi, who went on to be one of the best first basemen the game has ever seen. So they lose that game, but the success of it came from an interview that the owner of the Red Sox invites Billy Bean to Fenway Park. And the scene was done really well, right? Like the Boston Red Sox, even if you don't watch baseball, they are, along with the New York Yankees, one of the biggest teams in the league. And they portrayed that really well. Like when Billy Bean gets there, he's like, you want some coffee? They're like holding umbrellas as they're walking through the seats of the park, you know, really fancy shit. Cause it's like, it's not even raining. It's just drizzling. And they both got umbrellas. They sit down at a part of the stadium where clearly only the people with money are sitting, and the assistant brings them coffee, really fancy espresso. And the owner of the Red Sox literally just goes over what he did. He's like, dude, you went against everyone and everyone told you were wrong and you still went with it. Not only that, you won 20 games in a row. You went to the playoffs and you have changed baseball forever. That's pretty much the gist of this scene. And he writes down a number, he slides it to Billy, and Billy looks at it. And Brad Pitt is amazing in this scene. It really shows you what separates actors from other actors in this scene, just because of like the mannerisms he was given, the way he was looking at the note that was slid across to him.
Yeah.
it's the most vulnerable you see Billy in the entire film. You almost get like this, he's like this excited little boy in the film, and he looks at it, and the audience doesn't see the number, and he drives back to the clubhouse in Oakland, and Peter Brand, played by Jonah Hill's waiting for him. He's like, so, and he's almost like upset. He's like, he wants to know, and he's like, so what'd they offer you? He slides it across the table. I don't even think they showed the number. I think they waited until the end of the film where they showed how much they had offered him. But back to Bennett Miller, man. Shout out to Bennett Miller, the way the scene, he slides that same piece of paper that was again slid to Billy Bean. He slides it to Peter Brandt. Peter Brandt opens it. He's like, and that would make you the highest paid general manager in the history of Major League Baseball. And in real life, just as it's portrayed in the movie, he didn't accept it. It wasn't about money for him. It was about what he wanted to accomplish and leave his mark on the game. And he did that. And dude, that ending was just perfect, right? Like,
Yeah.
you get let down as an audience, as like they set out to accomplish a goal. They didn't accomplish it, but baseball recognized him. They gave him his flowers, so to speak, at the end of that. And he didn't take it because he was loyal to Peter Brand. He was loyal to the Oakland A's, and he was loyal to his family. He didn't want to leave his daughter, who they had a bunch of scenes with him and his daughter throughout the film.
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, you're at the end, the scenes you're talking about, right after those scenes, they show some text on the screen to, tell you more about it. I think they do give the figure that he was offered and he didn't accept. And the Boston Red Sox went on to 2 years later winning, the oh gosh, what's it
They
called?
won the World Series.
They won the World Series for the first time
Adopting-
since 1918, breaking this curse of the Red Sox that they had forever.
The curse
And
of
it's
the
like,
Bambino.
he could have been that general manager, but he chose, like you said, to continue down the path with Oakland Athletics.
Yeah. But they did that because the Boston Red Sox, along with the rest of the league, adopted the way Billy Bean ran that team and drafted the team and built the team. That was the gist of it. It's a timeless film, man. I mean, like, honestly, like, and it's why I say, like, it's probably the best sports film ever made. It is for sure one of my favorite movies I've ever seen. And a big part of it was I'm not into baseball, really. Like, not a huge baseball fan. I played it when I was growing up, but playing it's way different than watching it. I mean, like, they've even done stuff in the actual filming of these games to speed it up for the audience, because unless you truly love baseball, it's kind of a boring sport to watch. But
yeah, I mean,
this was a great film.
It doesn't go down as one of my favorite movies of all time, but it definitely goes down as, hey, somebody asked me, do you like Moneyball? I'm like, oh yeah, I love that movie. You know what I mean? Because I really do.
Yeah.
I enjoy the movie. It's fun. I watch it. You've mentioned Bennett Miller, the director, a few times. The two other notable movies that he's done are Capote, about Truman Capote, and that also stars Philip Seymour Hoffman, so another actor that was in this film, and Foxcatcher, which is also a true story. And so it seems like this director sort of has a thing or enjoys directing movies
Real
that are
stories.
based on a true story. I know you said Foxcatcher you didn't enjoy quite as much. I enjoyed it. I've got to rewatch Capote because it was a long time ago when I saw it, and honestly,
I should rewatch both of them. I'm not going to say I hate the movie or anything.
Yeah.
Steve Carell, who I love, that's just not a role he plays, man. It was really hard to watch, dude. Like, like,
another thing while we're talking about the ending here that was fun was you mentioned there were some scenes with Brad's daughter in the film, Billy Bean's daughter in the film, and just having some father-daughter conversations. And at one point earlier in the film, she's like she's playing guitar for him, and she's like humming this song, and he's like, why don't you sing the song, instead of just humming it? And she was like, because I hear you singing it when you're by yourself. And she's like, yeah, well, I don't like my voice. It makes me feel self-conscious, or whatever she says, right? And I
Right.
get that. I don't like my voice either. But at the end of the movie, she had given him a CD to play, and he puts it in his truck and he's driving down the road just thinking about how all this has gone down and how it's changed his life. And he puts it in, and it's his daughter singing that song, and she's really singing it and giving it her
Right.
all. And it sounds good. It sounds
It's a
awesome.
tearjerker for
And he's
sure.
got like a tear coming down his cheek as he's just driving his truck. And it's really good. Yeah, it's a great scene.
Dude, just again, like before we even stop talking about it, I just want to talk about the flow of this film. I mean, I think that is the biggest challenge for any director is to, from start to finish, you have a ebb and a flow of dialogue, portrayals, storytelling, and it has, like, it's hard to get perfect. It really is. Frame in, frame out. It's really hard to suck the audience in and leave them wanting more. I think that's what makes some of the greatest films we've watched. We're not necessarily too happy with the ending simply because it's ending.
Yeah.
And that's definitely what this film was. I didn't want it to end. I wish it was 4 hours, to be honest with you, but
I don't know about that for me,
I'm
but
just
I
saying,
get
like, yeah,
I
you're
get
right.
it. I get
Right.
it.
You know what I'm
Some of my
saying?
favorite movies, I want them to keep going too. I get it.
It's just, dude, from the beginning of the movie, sucks you in. It's telling you, it's giving you backstory on Billy Bean's character. They have that real tense scene where he goes to pick up his daughter. So you know his family life's broken. You know, he's juggling all these things. He's losing his star players that took him to the playoffs the season prior. Like, and then it goes into him rebuilding the team, the meeting with the owner, him meeting Peter Brand, trying to make a trade with the Cleveland Indians, him getting Peter Brand, them rebuilding the team, him losing it on the scouts, him, you know, it flows so beautifully, and it gets to the end and it's fucking perfect. It
Yeah.
really is. And I think out of all three of those films we just mentioned, Capote, Foxcatcher, Moneyball, this one was the best. I mean,
Yeah.
just off of the epic flow from beginning to end that this movie created. And it's, to me, I know you said, like, to me, it's one of the best. You know what? Fuck it. It is the best sports movie I've ever fucking seen in my life. And
Yeah.
I, even just the decision making that he did by not doing what really happened, you know, creating tension where there was no tension in the reality of the story for the sake of telling the story. Brilliant move. I mean,
Yeah.
it's what makes good directors apart from okay directors. And some directors, they only have one film that they're really known for. And Bennett Miller, I think he's going to keep doing it. I think he's going to make another great film just like that one is. And you know, a lot of people like Foxcatcher. I'm sure a lot of people like Capote. I mean, you know, this what makes films so great, right? Is there's
Yeah.
so many different people, they're gonna have so many different opinions, and it's really hard to get someone to love anything you create. But
Yeah.
you know, just it's just a beautiful film, man, from start to finish.
I got to give a quick shout out in here to Spike Jones. This was something I mentioned in one of our conversations. Brad Pitt's ex-wife, who's played by Robin Wright. Most people know her as Jenny from Forrest Gump. I'm not
Right.
sure if it's her boyfriend or her new husband, but
It's her new husband.
it's like a quick thing. It's very short in the movie, but it's played by the director, Spike Jones, and he's uncredited, so his name doesn't show up in the credits, but he's done a lot of great movies. He's most known for being John Malkovich, but he also did Adaptation. I guess he's also really known for the movie Her with Joaquin Phoenix, where
He is,
Joaquin
yeah.
falls in love with his phone. So
Yeah.
he's like a great director, and I mean, he's also known for Jackass. He directed a lot of the Jackass series and played an old lady alongside Johnny Knoxville in
For
the
Bad Grandpa.
heavy age makeup. So I
He's
just had to throw
hilarious,
that
man.
shout out in there too.
Shout out Spike Jones. Dude, shout out Scarlett Johansson. You just brought up that movie, Her. A lot of people don't know the
The
voice
voice,
in that
yes.
film was Scarlett Johansson. And dude, she's fucking phenomenal. I mean, physically, and then we get a movie where you just hear her voice. Like, He's the greatest, man. Fucking um
I just want to
haven't
check
seen
my notes and make sure there's nothing glaring that stands out that I feel like needs to be mentioned before we get away from it. I think
yeah,
we
go
got, I
ahead.
mean, the budget, just for anybody who cares, was estimated to be at about 55 million or 50 million, and it made 110 million worldwide. So they got their budget and then some.
I think most of their budget went to the actors, I think Jonah Hill and Brad Pitt got a pretty penny for these cuz
Yeah, I
at this
can't imagine. I know that they said most of the stadiums in the movie were one stadium that they kept redressing to be like 7
right.
different stadiums, but I can't imagine it's cheap to rent a baseball stadium either, even
Hell
if it's
no.
off season, so I don't know, I'm
That
sure.
might have been 20 million for
Yeah,
but see,
you know,
like,
that
the way they would do it is they film all the scenes they would need the baseball for. I imagine 2 weeks for a whole baseball stadium. It's gotta be
yeah.
upwards of 5 to 10 million. I mean, I don't know.
Just for the audience as well, anybody who, if you haven't seen this, you're thinking about seeing it, it's rated a 7.6 on IMDb. So it's not just us saying, hey, we like this movie.
No,
This is the general consensus is this movie is a solid movie. So if you haven't seen it, definitely watch it. And if you have seen
definitely.
it, maybe watch it again. Tell us what you thought about it. Let us know in the
Yeah,
comments
let
or
us know
wherever
what
you
you
see
liked
us.
about this movie. If we missed anything that we didn't bring up that you thought was extra special about it, dude, please comment. Send us a message, even if you think we're wrong. We want to hear it. I think we're gonna keep going off the IMBD ratings just because they're so hard, to
Yeah.
get past a 7.
Yeah.
I think the general consensus is, for me at least, as a movie watcher and someone that loves film, every time I saw a movie that was over minus F1, that was, I mean, and like you said, that had an 8 in the beginning when it first came out, and now it's at a 7. Dude,
It's
that,
dropping already since it
right.
released,
It's
basically. We'll
why I
see what
like
it ends up
IMBD.
with.
Yeah, we're gonna
Yeah.
keep going with IMBD just for, because just like when we did 12 Monkeys, it's a 8. And that
Yeah.
movie came out in 95. It's had so many years for people to hop on and give their takes. And I saw a lot of reviews for Moneyball that were around the time the film came out. I saw a lot of reviews around 2021, 2022. So I think we're gonna keep I like IMBD. I think we're gonna keep going with the ratings here. But yeah, go see the
Yeah.
film.
And for the audience too, like, if, we plan on doing all kinds of movies
Right.
with all kinds of ratings in all kinds of genres. So, we're going to be going all over the place. So if one movie is not for you, don't worry. We got something else coming up for
Yeah,
sure.
we're not gonna just keep doing 7s. We're gonna
Yes. Yeah. We,
even
we might
though
do some fives,
yeah, man. But
if
like
we want to talk about it, we'll talk
I mean,
about it.
like that movie I said in the beginning when we were talking about what got us in the film, like I love that movie, The Core. Dude, that movie's got a solid just 5 on IMDb.
Yeah.
And it's just a great film. I mean, like, it just
It's
ratings are
fun.
ratings. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
ratings are ratings, but yeah, we're certainly not just gonna go with what everyone loves. All right. We're gonna try and do movies that you might not have seen. I think that's a good direction to go. I mean, someone like me and Jacob, like the movie we were talking about certain movies to film. He had picked one he thought I didn't see, but I had. And I had picked one which I thought, because I had just seen it and I loved it so much I wanted to do it. He said he had seen it. And it's like, dude, that's what we're talking about. Like, we watch so many fucking movies that I think we're gonna release a lot of gems that people might not have seen. So that's pretty much our goal for this podcast, I think. And we're definitely, this next episode that we're gonna do, we're not gonna tell you until the next episode, but we're gonna watch a film that neither of us has seen. So you might get a little different takes on this next episode. So stay tuned. But now let's get into the hype train, people. Let's
Hell
get into
yeah,
the
hype
hype train.
train. You want to start it off, or you
I
want
do
me to
want to
start
start
off?
it off. I do want to
All
start
right.
it off. Let me bring it up here a little bit though, so I can know what I'm talking about. Now, I didn't really have a lot of time and I didn't really want to get into it too much, but I'm a huge fan of the series. I'm a huge fan of animated films in general. And 2026 they're gonna release Shrek 5. That's
Oh
right.
shit. Shrek
Shrek
5.
5 is coming out.
It's
You know,
gotta it's gotta be Mike Myers, right? It
it's
can't
Mike Myers is still playing Shrek, even though I think we were talking about this when we were on the phone. He wasn't who the studio wanted. They didn't want Mike Myers. They wanted somebody else.
they wanted
And
Chris Farley,
they
right?
wanted Chris Farley, and then he passed away. And Mike Myers got the film, and he got the role, and it was phenomenal. I remember seeing the first one in theaters, and if a lot of people don't know the history of Shrek, there was a writer that worked at Disney. I forget his name, but that's not important. He worked for Disney for years. They released all these timeless films. And when I think Walt Disney had passed away or something, like one of the CEO position was up for grabs and Disney didn't give him the role.
Ooh.
So he took that to heart. And not only did he quit, he created what we know as DreamWorks. And the first film that DreamWorks did was Shrek. And if you haven't seen Shrek, go see it. It's a great film. If you have kids, you haven't seen it, go see it. This is for parents and children, but the
Yeah,
whole
it's funny
synopsis,
for all
yeah,
ages.
it's
It's
funny
funny.
for all ages. And the synopsis of the film was they were making fun of all of the Disney characters. Like, they were making fun of mostly the princesses, right? Like, they were making fun of Cinderella. They were making fun of, I can't think of all of them,
But
but they were
even
just,
like the gingerbread man and all that
right.
kind of stuff in there,
They're
it's
just poking fun at like the mold that was Disney at the time.
yeah.
And it worked. It was DreamWorks' first animated film that they had released. It made millions of dollars. I think it was in the 100 million range, and they had only spent about 20 million. And this was also a time when we weren't getting as many animated films from the studios at the time other than Disney. So Shrek really took off, and
Yeah.
it's why DreamWorks still is making movies that we love today. But the
I'd
film,
imagine you got to have Eddie Murphy back as the donkey too, right? Because that's
dude,
the comedy duo. You got to have Shrek and Donkey,
all three. So Shrek 1, 2, 3, and 4, they have always had Mike Myers, Eddie Murphy, and Cameron Diaz. And that's exactly what's happening for Shrek 5, which is why I bring it up. I imagine it's got to be super hard to keep the original cast for 5 fucking movies. But they did, and it's going to come out summer of 2026. When you look at pictures, the animation is it's a lot different.
Okay.
It's got this new tone that all these animated movies are coming out with. Just the way that they render the animation, I think, with all the
Yeah.
new technology that's coming out. So it's going to look a little bit different, but I'm hoping that it doesn't feel different, I
Yeah.
guess, is what I'm trying to say. But that's
Is it
definitely they're going to have all of the same actors and voices, but Zendaya is going to play
Zendaya?
Zendaya. She's gonna be in the film as well. She's gonna play a new role. I think that's the only real new part of it. I think there's gonna be, I think there's a new director for this film, which I don't think they kept the same director for all of the series as Shrek.
Yeah.
But super excited about that film, and that's my hype train selection, baby. Shrek 5,
Yeah.
2026 summer.
I don't know if I've seen all the sequels. I know I've definitely seen the first 3. I don't know if I saw 4. I know in that first one, I think John Lithgow plays like the sort of
He
the main
does.
bad guy, and that
From
like
30 from 30
30
Rock.
no, Third Rock from the
Third
Sun.
Rock from the Sun, that's right,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, and he's in a lot of movies and shows that I've liked in the past, so he was really great, but I doubt he's coming back just because I
he's
think
not. Lord
yeah,
Farquaad he hasn't been
it's
in the
done.
series since the
Yeah,
first one, so
yeah.
but
Lord
definitely
Farquaad, that's
that
right.
role is what made Shrek 1. Lord Farquaad, I mean, we still talk about look, there's lines from that film that, like, me and my friends will say, like, and the gingerbread scene, like, "You're a monster." Like, I mean, come on, dude. Like, "Not my buttons, not my sugar-coated gumdrop buttons." Like, it's great stuff. It's good. I like kid movies because I'll take my son to the kid movies sometimes, and I don't enjoy it as much as he does. But films like
Yeah,
this, they make sure the parents enjoy it as well. So I'm excited for it. I'm excited to
awesome.
see the feel.
Well, I guess we're on a sequel hype train here because I've got a sequel for my hype train pick as well. And Mark, I hope you have seen the original of this, but
I
if
hope
you
so
haven't,
too.
you got to. What's coming out, and this one's coming out, this fall, basically late summer, early fall. It's releasing September 12th of 2025. So it's already
Oh wow.
shot, it's made, it's
Damn.
coming out.
They're editing it right now.
Exactly. Spinal Tap 2.
Oh.
Okay. This is a sequel to a movie that was made in 1984 called This Is Spinal Tap, directed by Rob Reiner. And it's got pretty much the original cast coming back with a lot of other people. It's got Christopher Guest, Michael McKean, and Harry Shearer. For people who don't know what Spinal Tap is, for one, shame on you. You should know what Spinal Tap is.
I don't.
Go
I've
watch
never
it.
seen this film.
And what it is it's a mockumentary. So it's shot like it's a documentary, but it's not. It's just making fun of it. And it's a fictional heavy metal band. And they're just goofballs. They're just idiots, right? So you get to see their adventures on tour. So in Spinal Tap 2, the basic plot they have on IMDb is the band Spinal Tap reunites after a 15-year hiatus to perform one final show, right? Because these guys were old in 1984, or not old, but they were, getting middle-aged in 1984 as an aging rock band. So now it's like, oh, they kept going for a while, then they took 15 years off, and now they're coming back to perform one final show, like an Ozzy
Yeah,
or
like in
something,
real life. Like in real.
And also, it's got tons of cameos, right? Also, Fran Drescher's in this movie. She was in the original. But musical cameos, you got Paul McCartney, who's from the Beatles. Everybody knows that, right? Lars Ulrich from Metallica.
Oh
Gonna have
wow.
Elton John. Gonna have
Elton John's
Questlove.
gonna be in this film.
Yeah.
He's
Gonna have
not.
Questlove from The Roots.
Wow.
So, yeah. And for anybody who's a fan of this movie or knows about it, one interesting thing that spun out of this movie, like I said, this movie was directed by Rob Reiner, but one of the main characters in it, who's in the band Spinal Tap, is an actor named Christopher Guest. He went on after Spinal Tap to make a whole career off of making this style of film, mockumentary films. His most known film that most people would know is called Best in Show, that is about people who go to dog shows,
That's a
right?
great movie. If
But
y'all haven't
he's
seen
also,
Best in Show, go to that.
yeah, he also did Waiting for Guffman and A Mighty Wind, and he's done other ones. He actually did one, I want to say about 8 years ago, that's on Netflix, called Mascots, about sports mascots.
Oh yeah.
And so this guy went on to make a whole career off of that style, and I love his films. So when I heard that this is Spinal Tap 2 was coming out, I was like, I got to go see this movie. So if you haven't heard about it, now you heard.
Now you heard Spinal Tap 2, go check it out. Dude, what's crazy is we always talk about how the studios are losing genuity. They're losing the original touch. And this just goes to, just like when with our last hype train, we're talking about a sequel 20 years after the original in Constantine 2. Here we go again. A movie that was widely successful in the 80s. They're not getting original. They're not trying to create something new. They're like, let's just do something that we know worked. And
It's
they're gonna
literally 41 years
41
later, they're
years.
releasing the sequel.
That's
Yeah.
fucking crazy, man. Like, it
Yeah.
just goes to show you, like, the risks studios are willing to take, which is zero. Like,
Yeah.
it's like we got to go 41 years back into filmmaking to come up with another idea. I hope they don't lose, just like in Shrek 5, I hope they don't lose the feel of what's been working, like what made Spinal, which I've never seen. I got to go see it now. I got to go watch
Yeah.
the original, but I imagine it's going to be hard. Like, come on, dude. Back in the 80s, that's when rock and roll was rock and roll. Everyone was listening to that shit. It's not so much no more, man. So it's like,
Yeah. Well, I think seeing some of the cameos in this, like Paul McCartney and Elton John, it just goes to show you they have to be fans of the original film. I
right.
think this film probably speaks to musicians on a different level because they're like, anybody who's been in bands or worked on music, you meet a lot of knuckleheads throughout the years, you know, and I used to play bass in some bands, local bands, and it's tough, man. It's tough
Yeah.
working with musicians, you know, it's tough. So it's I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully it'll be as good, if not better than the original. You know, it's hard to top a cult classic, but you know,
I
maybe they
mean,
can pull it off.
dude, the age of these musicians too, man. I mean, like I'm seeing this one still frame of the movie with Ozzy Osbourne in it, and I had recently just watched an interview. I think it was on TikTok with Ozzy Osbourne, and he's in like this. He's so old now. He's in like this motorized like chair, and
Yeah.
he like presses a button to move. He can't even walk. I'm like, good God, man! Like it makes me feel old as fuck. I remember going to Ozfest in like '08, like my senior year, and System of a Down and Disturbed and
Yeah.
uh you know
Never made it to Ozfest. I like I still have a stack of old concert tickets, and I have one. It's the only one I have that's not torn. Me and a friend were going to Ozfest, and we were driving, and it was like 3 hours away from where we lived at the time. And an hour into the trip, his car broke down. And this was in the 96, I want to say, 96 or 97. It's pretty much, I mean, some people had cell phones, but we didn't. So it was pre-cell
Yeah.
phone for us. And we were stuck at a gas station, and like we were there for hours. We never really could find a ride, and we couldn't make it to the concert that night. So I never made it to Ozfest, but I
Damn.
did have a ticket.
Well, so like, I mean, the only reason I went was because they never came to Virginia Beach. They would always go to Richmond, but they would never come to Virginia Beach. And like, my parents would never let me go to a concert in Richmond, which kind of didn't make sense because it would take me an hour to get to Virginia Beach.
It's the
Just like
same
it,
distance.
right.
Yeah.
It would take me like, but no, I remember getting on the computer on the website and seeing the very first release of all the cities they were going to. And when I saw Virginia Beach, I was just like, man, like, and it was around the time System of a Down had just came out with that album. I think it was called Mesmerized. And that BYOB was the single, and it was huge. It was all over the radio. Disturbed opened up for them. They had like, you know, Black Label Society headline the second stage, and Atreyu. They had a lot of just real like bands that don't even make music now, man. Like Dragon Force. I don't even think Dragon Force makes music now. But no, that's a good one. That's a good one. I think we had a good hype train session here. But yeah, man, that's episode 2.
Episode 2's in the bag.
We did Moneyball. Like we said, the next episode, we're going to link Moneyball to whatever film that we do next. It's not going to be any particular magical, consistent way. We're literally going to try and find films. And like for this one, we literally selected it because neither of us has seen it. So I think that'd be good for the podcast. So we're going to do that. And we appreciate y'all watching, man. We appreciate y'all like, comment, follow. You know, tell us what you don't like. Tell us what you do like. Just tell us about your day. We want to hear about it, man. So, yeah, you got anything else you want to say, cousin, before?
Nah, I think that's good, man. We'll see y'all next time. Like he said, hit us up on social medias. Let us know what you think. And hey, if you think you can guess the next movie, try to guess.
Try and guess it, man. Yeah, I don't think they will, but I'll tell you what, whoever can guess the next movie, I'll cash app you $100. If you can guess the correct.
Oh, wow.
Right,
Wow.
yeah.
Okay.
I will,
All right.
whatever. If you're watching this episode and you think you know what movie we're going to talk about next, if you commented in the video, whatever platform you're watching this on, and it's right, I will cash app you personally $100 of my own money. All right. So
Nice.
yeah, you know what? I think we're gonna do that from here on out. That's gonna be the new fucking thing. We're gonna end it. If you can guess what movie we're gonna talk about next, I'll cash app y'all $100. Thanks for watching. This is Flicking
To
Off.
the first person. Right?
Yeah, no, yeah, no. Don't even look. You're not gonna ride the train like I'm gonna keep up with social media. I'm gonna know who says it first. You'll get it's $100
Yeah.
prize winner. Okay, I'm not gonna be. You know, and I'm gonna see the time of the comments. So even if 2 people comment they're not gonna guess it. Okay, that's why I'm saying this. All right, there's just no
I'm gonna
fucking
get my
way.
wife to create a dummy account.
Nah, dude. I'll know. But yeah, no, man, this is Flicking Off episode 2. We talked about Moneyball. I'm Mark. That's my
I'm
cousin
Jacob.
Jacob. We're gonna keep coming to you, man. We'll see y'all next week. Peace.
Peace.